Michael Johnson, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm gonna be doing a video of me watching, basically catching up on Euphoria before season 2 drops, actually tonight in a few hours at 9 o'clock on HBO Max. I am super excited. I wanted to do a video of me, rewatching, because I already watched season 1 a few times, but I just want to watch it again before season 2. Only one episode is dropping though tonight for season 2. It's a new episode every week. They're not dropping the whole entire season on HBO Max, unfortunately. I'm a little bit upset about that. I was like, because before I thought they were going to drop the whole season on HBO Max. That's not how they're doing this. They're just dropping a new episode every week. So honestly, we waited this long. At least we're getting something. I'm just happy we're getting a new episode. That's all we could ask for at this point. It's like, the cast and the crew they worked so hard creating this season, and during our pandemic, it must have been insane. So, I was watching an interview yesterday with the cast and saying how Zendaya was saying they had to work with a small crew, so, that can get, it's a little bit, crazy, because, she could hear, one of the, videographers or, people who was carrying the camera on their shoulders, she could actually hear that person breathe. That's how small the crew was. It's like you can basically hear that video person who's holding the camera for filming basically breathe. So they had to work with a small crew, and I think the cast does definitely worked really hard on this. So they probably created. This season's going to be good. I have a good feeling about this season. That's the main point of what I was trying to say, is this season is probably going to be really good with all the crew and the cast hard work is going to show. And I'm excited. So I'm doing a video of me watching, kind of doing a binge watch before the season premiere of Euphoria season 2. I'm so excited again. So, yeah, here we go. I'm back, and I'm still binge watching Euphoria season 1 before season 2 drops, in a few hours. It's 5 o'clock now, at 9 o'clock on HBO. I'm so excited. So I just finished watching episode 2 because I started last night basically with episode 1, the pilot episode. I'm on episode 2. So yeah, and I just want to give my thoughts, I guess, on rewatching this again. I just love Euphoria. Gives off the best visuals, hands down, for a TV show, and it just it's visually pleasing. It pulls you in, you're part of this world. And we see the effects of drugs on as a narrator. I think in episode 1 she said she's not a reliable narrator, and I think in episode 2 you kind of see that she's really probably not the most reliable narrator, because of how high she always is. And we see her trying to she's lying to her mom about coming with about being sober and not doing drugs anymore, and going to the AA meetings, when she's really lying to her. She asked Lexi in episode 1 to do the pee for her for a drug test. So really it's just we just see the continuation of her just relying on drugs instead of facing her all her problems. She's just relying on drugs to hide away from all her problems. And then comes Jules, and Jules, in episode 2, we see her, that's her first real best friend. She says it too in episode 2, that's her real best friend that she made since, coming back from rehab. And Jules kind of is different because Jules isn't she doesn't do drugs. However, we see she has her own addiction that the guy she talks to, and from episode 1 we see her hooking up with Need's dad, not knowing that, but she likes to hook up with strange men basically. And that's kind of her addiction, and online talking to strange men. And she has her own addiction, as Rue has a drug addiction. I think the show really best shows that everyone has their own addiction. Maddie. This episode was basically about Nate. I think season 2 is a continuation of every character gets their own episode where Rue, talks about each character and how they grew up. In episode 2, it's Stunning Like My Daddy. I love the title, Stunning Like My Daddy. Honestly, I love the title of episode 2. It's honestly the best. Stunning Like My Daddy. Anyway, this is all about Nate and Nate growing up and how he, find his dad's porn collection. And yeah, his dad is a mess. He's not really the best example for a dad, for keeping secrets, for having affairs with, people with young teenagers basically in their community, which is awful. So yeah, we see him growing up and just, he's really pushed hard to be, the perfect man for his dad, doing sports and all that. Just trying to be the best role model for their family. And, there's a lot of pressure that's put on him, and but he has a violent side too, we see in this episode, as he'll do anything to protect Maddie, and he doesn't even like to think, a relationship with Maddie, the relationship is awful, it's toxic, that he even has thoughts if something did happen, if a guy tried to rape her or kidnap her, he would basically kill that person. He'd literally kill anyone if anyone tried to hurt her. And, he's violent, not the best guy for a relationship. He's, has anger issues. And Maddie knew that, and at the party, she, provoked him, which led him to episode 2, beating up this guy that she hooked up with to death because she lied and said, I blacked out. So he thinks that the guy that she hooked up with actually raped her, so he beat that guy to almost a puddle of blood, basically. So he really has an anger issues. I think I want to see that explored in season 2 this season, and hopefully he's working on his anger problems. Hopefully, because he needs to work on his anger issues. And then Fez, Rue. I love Rue and Fez's relationship because, when this drug dealer came in, he was really trying to protect her, but this drug dealer was provoking Rue to try fentanyl, which was the best thing. And it's so emotional seeing her when she was drugs is all fun in games until it gets guns involved. And that's true, it's all fun and games until, it gets real. Then real life comes in. And she ends up taking the fentanyl, and Fez has to pay for her. Eventually the drug dealer leaves. So, it's all fun and games until it gets real. And she passes out, and Fez calls Jules to help him with Rue to help her sober up. So I love how Fez is just like a brother, a protector, and I can't wait to see more of their relationship explored because, Fez is definitely another one of my favorite characters. So yeah, this was episode 2, starting like my daddy. Now on to the next few episodes. Back, so I watched another few episodes as part of my Euphoria binge/marathon before season 2 drops tonight. Wow. I just feel I watched a lot of Euphoria today. It's like, emotional. Getting back to that emotional roller coaster these episodes take on you, because you get connected with all these characters and it's like in their stories, and it's just it's like an emotional ride. One story that the main story with Rue and Jules is just, it's a beautiful story at the end of the day, their relationship, and they started as friends, became best friends, and then grew into a little bit of a relationship, got deeper, more than friendship. They got to a point where they grew as, as girlfriends, which was beautiful. I loved the way they played it out, this in season 1. And also, it was interesting because I just got done watching the carnival episode, season 1, episode 4, Shook One's Part 2. Interesting title, by the way. I just love this episode because you're like all over the place with the carnival happening. Fez is, selling Molly and trying to get his business rolling out, trying to make that money. And you have Maddie and Nate. Maddie's, is gonna meet Nate's parents for the first time at the carnival as they're selling their famous chili, award-winning chili. And then you have Maddie and I forget that guy's name who was dating in season 1, the guy from college, he's just, because of what happened in the first episode, learning about, her secret about, who she, her online, who she hooked up with, and, sending nudes and all that, and he kind of confronted her about it, and, he ended up leaving her alone, which made her feel upset and heartbroken, which led her, I love her, Maddie and Cassie. Oh, I meant Cassie. I was talking about Cassie. Cassie was season 1. Anyway, she left heartbroken, and, I just love their duo with Maddie and Cassie when they, want to do Molly. In this episode, it was so much fun because they were just two bad girls. Two bad girls. Hopefully we see that in season 2 tonight. So, wow, I love this episode. And then, Rue again. Rue is looking for her sister, and her sister gets stoned, and it's really, well, Rue wasn't the best role model, and I think she realizes that, but, she's trying to be better and not, do drugs. So, this, and then the ending of this episode, so this was honestly, put the title Shook Ones, because I think everyone, I mentioned this episode for the first time, was shook that Tyler ended up revealing himself as Nate. And then the dad, before that, her dad felt so bad, because he knew what he was doing with them. Jules was wrong, and I love how he, I just still don't trust Nate's dad. He's still, an awful person, but he was, begging her not to, tell anyone. And then, I think Nate knew the whole time about the secret that his dad hooked up with Jules. I think he knew that, because I think he takes videos of, we saw in the first episode, he took videos of every person Nate's dad has hooked up with, has video of it. So I think he saw, Nate knows where the videos are and knows how to have access to it, so he probably ended up learning the truth, and then after meeting Jules at the party, and that's how he started his plan to, catfish Jules. And then at the end of the episode, Nate reveals himself as a catfish, aka Tyler, and how he wants her to keep her shut, basically not to say anything, or else he expose her as a, child, selling child pornography. So it's just, he's literally the devil of the show. Nate is literally the devil. And Maddie, and what he did to Maddie, he's honestly awful. The relationship's just toxic and awful. They better not get back together. And they better not get back together in season 2. So that's some of my thoughts on watching this, binge-a-thon. Binge/marathon. I don't know. I guess we're gonna call it binge. So yeah. Now I'm gonna watch the season finale because it's like 7. It's actually 7 close to, or 8 o'clock. I want to watch the season finale and then go in watching the first episode of season 2. I can't believe we're finally getting this. After all this long wait, we're finally getting season 2. Okay. On to the next episode. So I finished binge watching Euphoria season 1, and I watched the season premiere. I made it. I can't believe season 2 is finally, the first episode of season 2 is finally out. And yeah, I finished watching the finale of season 1, and I just want to give you my thoughts of the finale of season 1. I love the episode, the season finale of season 1. It was a good episode. I just feel like they packed a little bit much in one episode, and I just felt like there were a few stories that weren't explained, like what happened with Cassie and McKay. We never really found that out, so hopefully that gets answered in season 2. He wasn't even in the episode, the season finale. And Lexi, I just feel like there were a few stories that were unanswered. And one of my favorite moments was when Cassie was emotional, sad, when she was decided to abort the baby. Well, she tell McKay that in season 2. Well, he find out. I don't know. So that was just a really emotional story, but one of my favorite parts about that is when she, listened to music during the procedure. We saw her, her figure skating, and the actress, that was beautiful. That shows, talent there, that she can figure skate. That was amazing. I love that. That was visually pleasing, and that was really good. Shout out to the actress who plays Cassie. She did an amazing job in that scene. So yeah, and another my favorite scene was at the dance with Maddie and me, dancing with their date. Well, Maddie didn't really have a date. She went out and do you know how to dance? She just found a guy, and so she could make Nate jealous. And trying to dance for that scene was a little bit really, come on. Trying to make each other jealous, but I'm happy that at the end they decided to break up because they weren't good for each other. Maddie and Nate, they were just toxic, just the worst thing for each other. Oh, and Maddie finding out about that tape, because before, after they were done, having sex, kind of trying to have sex, she ended up going through, seeing that book that Nate kept, that his dad's tape, and we never find out what was on the tape. What tape did she see? So hopefully that gets answered in season 2, because she now knows Nate's dad's secret. So I just kind of want to know what was on that tape. Who was on the tape? Does she know about Jules? That Jules, hooked up with Nate's dad. So yeah, a few unanswered questions. And also, I love the dancing scene with, Rue and Jules. And they were like, F you, Nate Jacobs, and doing that, like, I love that. And I love at the beginning, and like, we were thinking, like, no, you're not supposed to say this out loud, but if I ever saw Nate Jacobs, and they went to, in Rue's head of Rue and Jules, like, with Nate on fire, sitting on a chair, and then with Rue shooting, like, basically with a gun and shooting at him, he's, like, on fire. I love that. And Jules is like, yes. With Jules smiling. I love that. I hate Nate so much. So, yeah. I love the episode. It's good, and most iconic moments of the episode is basically we got a music video with Zendaya singing All for Us or All for Love. I loved it. Collaborating with Labyrinth. I love the collaboration with Labyrinth that we got for the soundtrack for this first season, and I love how we're gonna continue getting it probably for season 2. And wow. And that's the most iconic moment, hands down, of the episode was the ending with Zendaya's music video. Of course, I didn't mean to skip over the emotional, how Rue ended up relapsing after Jules left at the train station. That was sad, and that caused her to relapse. Oh, and then what happened with Fez and that guy Mouse, that drug dealer. I know I'm going a little bit all over the place, but just stick with me. So yeah, but hopefully that gets answered in season 2. Okay. Now that talked about season 1 finale, now let's go on to season 2, my first reactions. I'm just going to dive right into it, because the episode is already out now on HBO Max, and I love this. This episode was good. I love how it started off with, I was not expecting it to be about Fez and his grandma, but his grandma basically raised him, and then Ashtray, his brother, well, technically, biologically he's not, but just a baby that his grandma, kind of laughed at the house and showed up one day, basically, and now, basically his grandma did the drug business, and that's how he grew up, with his grandma being a drug dealer, a gangster, a woman drug dealer, and she was basically the original gangster. So I was not expecting this episode to be about Fez and about his grandma, and I love that he learned about more about his past, because I always was curious from like last season when he saw his grandma in bed with all the medical equipment. I wanted to know more about his past, and I'm glad we got some questions answered about his past. And so I'm just gonna give you my thoughts. I love the episode. I love how we're still getting the Labyrinth music and music from season 1. Like, I love how certain characters have their theme music, so it's still, and it seems like we're doing every episode is about a different character who's narrating still, so everything is still the same. That's continuity-wise with, with each episode it's being about a different character, and Rue is still narrating, like I said, so it's kind of the same, but it's a different, they're, in different places now. They're not juniors. I mean, I want to say maybe they're finishing up the last part of their junior year. They're becoming seniors soon, I'm assuming. So, they're growing up, which I like to see. And there's Visually, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more. This episode seemed a lot more darker, going into darker territory and not newer drugs, but like, drugs that, are a little bit more worse than what we was used to. Not only she's getting high, she's got now, she met a girl she's doing heroin. So yeah, now, which she met this crackhead blonde girl with that drug dealer that was with Mouse from last season, and his girl, she was just a crackhead blonde white girl, and she was like, not the right time to do drugs, and well, this is how Rue gets in contact with heroin. She ends up taking it in the episode, and then she also gets high, and she almost, her heart almost stopped. And who saves her is that's when we meet Elliot. So I don't want to get too much into the episode, but I just want to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to do another video where I'm talking more in depth about the episode. So Elliot comes in, that's right, we meet a new character. So this episode was basically about Fez and his past, and I just love the new vibe that we're getting this season, and how the characters are a little bit older, and how they're still trying to find themselves. Cassie is so, heartbroken after the breakup with McKay. So, she's just, she's not herself. So, I think I'm excited for this season. I think it's a darker territory. Newer characters we're gonna meet, and I think we're definitely gonna be on for a crazy ride this season with all of these characters, and I'm just happy the show is back. Today is Sunday. Until next Sunday at 9 o'clock, a new episode of Euphoria drops on HBO Max. So until then, stay high. I'm joking. So please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe for more of my videos. I'm gonna post Mondays about my reactions and my thoughts on the Euphoria episodes. So please like and subscribe. See ya.